Hello everyone and welcome to my live Makybe Diva Stakes preview. Group 1 racing at weight for age level at Flemington on Saturday. Cracking Group 1 with some cracking winners over the years. I'm thunderstruck obviously last year, incentivized the year before that. And this race, despite a field of only 7, looks an absolute cracker. And I can't wait to get stuck into the runner by runner preview. The first thing we'll do is we'll check a market from Sportsbet. So as we can see here, Mr. Brightside is the commanding odds-on favourite, winning 4 in a row. It's at $1.90. As low as $1.85, which it opened out to as much as $1.95 and into $1.90 at the moment. Alligator Blood, $3.60, slightly out to $4 early. Princess Grace opened 5s, it's into $4.60. The one with some support is Ossipenko, the 4th favourite, 18 into 12. Egon, 21 out to 26, then Francesco Guardi at $27 from 34, and Spanish Mission's been out the gate from 40s all the way up to 60s. So the market, that's all done and dusted. We're going to look at this. This is my own speed map that I did myself, not made from anywhere. It's from Racing and Sports, but I did it myself. So I think Alligator Blood definitely leads on the rails. Princess Grace, I reckon, settles outside, and I reckon Alligator Blood and Ollie set a genuine clip so that Mr. Brightside races in isolation in the 1 out 1 back position. That's just my views. That it probably won't even happen, but that's just my prediction on what's going to happen. Willow could even go back to the fence here and be behind Alligator Blood, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Willow likes to be on the outside. Ossipenko, I don't think has the pace over 1600 meters to be in a forward position, so I think it's around midfield or so would be good. Egon, it'll be thereabouts midfield, and then Francesco Guardi and Spanish Mission I've got at the back of the field. They're going to be looking for a Melbourne Cup, Caulfield Cup trip, so I reckon they'll be saved just to hit the line in this start. I don't think we need to waste any more time, so we'll start with horse number 1, which is Mr. Brightside. Jumping from gate 2, Hayes Boys train, Willow rides, 59 kilos, obviously at weight for age. Mr. Brightside being a guy, gets the 59 kilos. Odds-on favourite, was a winner in the Group 1 Makybe Stakes last start. We're going to take a look at its form. So ever since they've ridden this horse forward, it's just been a winner. Obviously back, as we can see, it's run 5 back in the futurity. It settled towards the back, really finished off well behind Alligator Blood, and I'm thunderstruck. And ever since they've ridden it forward from the All-Star Mile to the Makybe, it's just won on every occasion. And from gate 2, Willow's going to be positive again, and the step up to 1600 meters doesn't look to be any hindrance, considering it's won 8 times over the 1600 meters. Raced 3 wide without cover last start in the Makybe Stakes to beat them all. Had to do it the tough way. Despite the ground probably being better out there, you still never want to be 3 wide no cover, especially at Caulfield 1400 where there's two turns. So I think with Mr. Brightside drawn 2, Willow can just get a nice suck run up behind the leaders in what looks to be Alligator Blood and Princess Grace, and I reckon Mr. Brightside's an excellent chance of winning again. Also with the benefit of weight for age, where you don't get weighted based off rating, it's just based off your age and your sex. So Mr. Brightside will always get 59 because he's a gelding or a guy, and because he's a 6-year-old. So the weight doesn't change from weight for age to weight for age, so he'll carry the same weight in the Lawrence, the Makybe, and this race, the Makybe Diva, on Saturday. So Mr. Brightside, I think, is a good chance, and he's the first runner we've taken a look at. So we'll move on to horse 2. It is Alligator Blood from gate 4, Waterhouse Bot Train. Damien Oliver in the saddle, draws gate 4. Its form's been alright, and it came 4th last start in the Group 1 Makybe Stakes. So we'll go down to Alligator Blood. Now this horse, first up last year in the Makybe, I think finished 6th, beaten 5 lengths. And this year, it's finished 4th, beaten under a length. So it's a major improvement. So it could even be going better this time in than it was last spring. So that's really encouraging signs. Came across from the deep last start to be in what was a really good position outside the leader. It didn't have to do an abundance of work to get there, and Mr. Brightside probably had the tougher run on its outside. But Alligator Blood ran pretty well last start, and last year it came out of that 5-length beating in the Makybe Stakes to it should have beaten Thunderstruck. It just got pipped on the line, so if this year's anything to judge by last year, it should be winning the Makybe Diva this year. I do think there's a lot of good horses in the race this year, despite the field of 7, so we'll have to go up a notch again. But it's proven over the Flemington 1600 metres, and this is just my opinion again, but I'd be heaps more confident if it was either Timmy Clark or Blake Shin in the saddle. As we all know, Ollie's coming to the end of his career. Tim Clark fills me with more confidence than what Ollie does as a rider nowadays when you're assessing a horse's form and chance. But that's just my personal opinion. Alligator Blood will run really well. He'll lead and he'll give it his all like he always does and run a really good race. So that's Alligator Blood out the way. We move on to number 3, Spanish Mission for Moody and Coleman. Luke Nolan hasn't won, I don't think, for a while, and his 60-1 was third last start in the Fian Stakes of 2022. So it's had over a year off. This won't take too long. He's going to be looking for further than 1600 metres. First up last time was the Fian Stakes. He didn't run too bad. First up in the Carline Cup back in the autumn of last year. Ran a pretty good race over 1600 metres, but that was from gate 1, where there was a lot of horses in the Carline Cup that year that were looking for a distance like he was, so he was evenly matched against those horses. These horses at Group 1 weight for age 1600 level, 1600's their pet distance and they're fit. So Spanish Mission, I think they're just going to want to go back from the gate for Luke Nolan and look to hit the line well to be ready 3rd, 4th up to peak and try and win a race. I don't think it's there to win on Saturday, and I'll be very surprised if it does. If you guys have any questions about my judgment, then just pop it in the comments below, because this is the first live stream in a while where I can actually see the comments. The Boat Boy sends Princess Grace wins by 2. Could happen. As we move on to horse 4, Egon. Andrew Forsman for Mickey D. 59 kilos being weight for age. $26 it's paying, and its last start was a 9th in the Group 1 Memsey Stakes. Now, I nearly put this horse in my Futures Bets series after the Lawrence Stakes run, where it absolutely flew from the back to only finish just under 2 lengths behind Mr. Brightside and Pinstriped. Mr. Brightside's come out and won the Memsey, Pinstripes come out and won the Fan, so that form's good. It may have had a little bit of second up syndrome in the Memsey Stakes, and I don't think Gate 12 really suited it. It didn't get to be in its favourable role, and it had to do a bit of work from the gate. So I'm not really sure about Egon. I think he's going to run well from gate 5, 3rd up. He can be in a more forward position than last start, closer to the speed, being a smaller field as well. And if he can recapture his form from the Lawrence Stakes, he's going to be right in it. But it's whether he can do it. He lacks a bit of consistency. He was a fair way off Alligator Blood and Mr. Brightside in the Futurity Stakes in the autumn. So I think Egon is a place chance at best, but he's definitely a better chance than a few others in the race. Horse 5 is Francesco Guardi for Chris Waller and Damien Lane. $27, and last start was a 10th in the Wink Stakes up there in Sydney, where it didn't finish too far off them, but from gate 5 was able to settle a little bit closer than probably what it would have done if it had have drawn out a bit wider. Is a winner over 2,500 metres, so is going to be looking for further, obviously. Again, I don't think this horse is in to win on Saturday. I think they're just going to ride it quiet and let it finish off ready for those Caulfield and Melbourne Cups. From gate 3, I've got it mapped last on the fence. Is it going to be able to outsprint a Mr. Brightside and Princess Grace over 1600? I don't think so. I reckon it's in to win, as I said, the Caulfield and Melbourne Cup. So look to finish off for Francesco Guardi. If it's good enough, it could sneak into a placing, but I think that would be a surprise. That's Francesco Guardi. As we move on to number 6, ossipenko, with a bit more of a chance. Chris Waller rides for Mark Zara. Chris Waller trains for Mark Zara to ride. This horse carries 58.5 kilos because it's a 4-year-old coming off a 3-year-old, obviously, campaign. Draws gate 1, $12. Last start was a 7th in the Memsey. I really like this horse's form heading into this type of race, the Makybe Diva. I can see why it's been backed early. I thought $18 was way over the odds for ossipenko. Has since come into as short as 11s, back out to 12s. This horse was really good from the back in the Memsey without troubling the winner, Mr. Brightside, obviously. In the Wink Stakes was really good from well back behind Fangirl and Princess Grace. May have had a bit of second up syndrome in the Memsey Stakes, coming down from Sydney and having to make a long sustained run from the back in the Wink Stakes. So third up, if it's right, it can settle from gate 1 midfield or so, and I reckon it can run really, really well. ossipenko, I think being third up really suits a horse in the Makybe Diva Stakes. Obviously, that's why I like Mr. Brightside, but I like ossipenko because it's a 4-year-old. There's been a few 4-year-old winners in previous years for the Makybe Diva Stakes, so I think ossipenko really suits that. I can't remember what horse. I think it was Grunt. It might have been Grunt that won the Rosehill Guineas over 2000 in the autumn, and then the very next spring it won the Makybe Diva Stakes. ossipenko didn't win the Rosehill Guineas, but he won the Packer Plate against some really good horses in Pericles, who might be a star here, and Williamsburg, who was also a very handy, or is also a very handy horse. So I think ossipenko's a really good each way chance. If there was 8 runners, you could have backed him each way, and he could have run second or third, but with each way, he can only run second. So ossipenko, maybe not on Saturday, but definitely 4th and 5th up. He'll be ready to win wherever they go with him. I think there's a good chance. Egon wins in a boil over. You never know. You never know. He's not the worst chance, Egon. Princess Grace is the last one. The last runner right down the bottom from gate 7, number 7. Chris Waller trains, Blake Shin rides. Chris Waller has 42% of this field. 57 kilos because it's a mare, and it's third up, 460, and last start was a very good second in the Memsey Stakes. This is a very good horse. This is a very good chance. Blake Shin sticks with it. Gate 7, I've got it mapped outside leader, Alligator Blood, and if it can get that roll, it'll be right in it, and in it for a long way. It was really good in the Memsey Stakes. It did draw gate 3, so it did have a bit of a tactical, or not tactical, but just an overall advantage on Alligator Blood and Mr. Brightside, who had to come across from the deep. Princess Grace didn't have to spend many tickets to be right up there compared to those 2 horses, so that was beneficial for that horse in that respect. But even before that, was really good behind Fangirl, beating Zaki in the Wink Stakes, and to do that first up as a long shot shows signs of a pretty good horse, and then came out in the Memsey Stakes and repeated the dose, and it started a pretty good SP on that day as well. It's won over 1700 before in overseas, so no doubt about its ability to run the trip. It draws gate 7, it'll be right there, and it'll be in there for a long way, contesting with Alligator Blood down the straight, and Mr. Brightside coming off its back as they get to the finish. So I think Princess Grace is a really good chance, but we'll go to my top 4 now, so there's no real surprises, but I've got Mr. Brightside on top. $1.90 is about his right price. He's won 4 in a row. He'll get that nice run behind Princess Grace. 1600 looks to suit. Willow Sticks, I think he's really hard to beat. I've got Princess Grace in there for second. I think the step up to 1600 suits this horse. We'll be right there with Alligator Blood, and those 3 fit horses that 1600 is probably their best distance. I think we'll just run away from the rest, and I think Princess Grace is a good chance. Alligator Blood finished second in this race last year and may have improved this campaign, so he has to be right up there again. Could easily have put him for second. He'll be leading and in it for a long way, and as I've said, I've liked ossipenko's form, its profile from a 3-year-old to transition to a 4-year-old, and its runs in the Winks and Memsey Stakes were full of credit, so I think ossipenko can run really, really well on Saturday. Maybe not a winning, it's definitely a winning chance, but I think Mr. Brightside, Gracie, and Blood will beat it. But we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be an absolute cracker of a race, despite a field of only 7. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for everyone tuning in, watching back on replay. If you have any suggestions of what I should include next time in a runner-by-runner preview, make sure to leave a comment. If you want to see me do more of the feature group 1s for a Wednesday night in the coming weeks, let me know as well. But until then, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.